To me, it look like a leprechaun to me. All you gotta do is look up in the tree. Who else seen the leprechaun? Say yeah! I wanna know where to go. I wanna know where to go. Give me the go. I wanna know where to go. I wanna know where to go. Give me the go.
Hey, Jason.
Hey, Jeff.
We've reached the end of Leprechaun-o-ween.
Yes.
Welcome to
I feel like I've earned a big bucket of gold.
a big bucket of gold.
Yes.
Well, you are Irish, so you can go around and ask people for your gold.
Give me my gold back.
Where the gold at? This is episode number 90.
Oh.
Little thing for you here. This is a new episode of Film Seizure. Did you know that?
Oh. You're Jeff Arbuckle.
And you're Jason Oliver.
Yeah.
A little bit behind the scenes action here real quick. Episode 89, whatever you heard of that, was a second take. We were cooking a great episode. Everything was going great. Shit fell apart on us, but this time it ain't gonna happen.
It was a pretty good episode for two difficult movies to talk about.
Well, yeah, because they ranged in spectrum of a really fun one and a really shit one.
So we have no idea what we're going to talk about. Well, we know what we're going to talk about, but we don't know what we talk about because we're recording this episode before we re-record that one.
Right. So we just wanted to give a little bit of a...
So this one might seem a little bit disjointed. We'll see. There are some things I know we will talk about again in that episode when we re-record it. So we will refer back to those things, specifically that sounded like the leprechaun coming out of Ozzy's stomach.
Yeah.
There.
Yeah.
But specifically, we'll talk about the Crichton Leprechaun and the fun little callback that one of these movies had to that.
Which you probably will get a taste that this happened in last week's episode.
Yes. So we will have already talked about the Crichton Leprechaun, but there's a little thing that happens in Leprechaun Returns. That was a nice little callback to that.
Yeah. So what were our movies for this one?
So we had Leprechaun Origins.
Yep.
Which was when was that made? A couple years ago.
2014 or 15.
Okay. And then we had Leprechaun Returns,
which was last year, not 2018.
So Leprechaun Origins was produced by the WWE.
Yeah, featuring it. Yeah, let's start there because
they've made a few horror films
every now and then. Yeah. Here's the thing that worried me about this. Right. We live in a time where there is no shortage of opinions from other people of here's what I would have done differently for Leprechauns 1 through 6. And almost invariably, those other opinions suck.
Wait, there's lots of opinions about what people would do for Leprechauns 1 through 6?
I'm just saying we live in a time where you hear a lot of opinions where you might hear somebody say, this is what I would have done for Leprechauns 1 through 6.
Okay, sure.
And invariably, they would have all been terrible. Like, the first thing you would think that somebody would say is, he's a fucking monster, so he should be doing monster shit. Right? And, like, trying to, like, beef it up with a little machismo, like a little monster machismo. Make him tough. Make him like an Eli Roth torture character, like a torturer.
Yeah. Okay.
Doing just like really vile shit.
Like more Wishmaster or Jigsaw than
a funny, goofy little monster guy.
Yeah.
So going into Leprechaun Origins, I thought, with WWE producing this, I got a feeling it's going to be masturbatory like that.
Sure.
Right. And it's going to be this stupid derailing of a formula that had been around for 6 movies. Some movies did it better than others. but I was pleasantly surprised how that movie wanted to do a thing, and it did a thing.
Yeah, we in our original episode 89, we talked about how it would be nice if we just got like a straight up Leprechaun horror movie, like played straight and as a actual four scares Leprechaun movie, and we didn't quite get that, but we got something just as good, in my opinion. And we got was a monster movie.
We got a monster movie,
and it's very, like, to call this a Leprechaun movie is its greatest detriment.
Yeah, it was probably something else,
Right.
or at least it was not meant to be part of the Leprechauniverse.
Yeah, I would agree. It probably wasn't. It probably, again, was one of those things where we have this property that we own. We can guarantee so many units shipped if we slap Leprechaun on it in some way, right? So we'll just tweak the script a little bit, set it in Ireland, change some characters around, give them Irish accents, and call this creature a leprechaun, right?
Right.
And just a real, very, very minimal rewrite needed.
To be honest with you,
And it doesn't feel too forced, really.
No, it doesn't.
Because they didn't go over the top with it.
Well, to be honest with you, they could have called this creature a leprechaun while still not calling it a leprechaun movie.
Right. It would have been actually kind of a more interesting idea to find out that, oh, this is like a leprechaun, right? Like, this changed the whole lore and not go in with the expectation of the Warwick Davis character.
Right. So Leprechaun Origins, there's another kind of issue with it, and that's Origins. It's a little bit of a misnomer. We do hear an origin of this leprechaun.
Yes.
Or at least it's certainly heavily alluded to, if not completely and totally outright told. But it's set in the present. I thought this would be a movie that maybe there's a present for the opening and ending, and then it goes back in time.
I was extremely happy that they didn't try to do flashbacks and a period piece with no budget.
Yeah.
It's the worst when you try to do that. To me, when
they did a whole bunch with no budget.
Absolutely.
So Leprechaun Origins is just as simple as can be. It opens with two hikers.
Yeah.
Getting chased and killed by something. Then 4 new characters come along, and they are backpacking through Ireland.
Yeah.
One guy is consistently drinking Guinness.
Yeah.
His insides are probably tar.
Yeah. We joked at one point when he passed out having sex that he would have probably ejaculated Guinness anyway.
Yeah.
So it's for the best.
Yeah. You have his
Brendan Fletcher is that character.
Okay.
He's the only person in the movie that I recognize. He was in Freddy vs. Jason.
Okay.
Yeah.
He was. What's funny is that you're introduced to these characters in a way that you almost don't think you're gonna like them that much.
Yeah.
Like that guy is. He seems to be kind of a mouthy guy, but then turns out that he's actually pretty decent. He drinks a little too much, but
he also takes the brunt of the monsters.
Yeah.
Like, he gets it the worst.
Yeah, and
in a lot of ways.
He does try very hard to keep going, though.
Yeah.
His girlfriend is, I guess, the more adventurous one, and I say that with finger quotes because that's AKA horny.
Yeah. Yeah.
But no, I mean, they don't play up that part that much. But she, like, they're at this pub, and this Irish man, it's like, oh, I'll tell you, whatever he says. And they're like, yeah. Like, the girl's like, oh, can we go? And, like, the main girl's boyfriend is like, I don't know, man, we're already off course or whatever. He's a little stick in the mud.
So the first reason they're here is it's their last weekend in Ireland. Yeah, and she wants to go to this little village because she heard that all of the oldest Celtic artifacts are in this town, even though the town is only 300 years old. And they go to the pub, and yeah, she's talking about this at the pub, and is overheard by this older Irish man, and he tells them that, oh, there's stuff that's not even in the guidebooks that we can take you to go see. It's amazing.
That doesn't sound suspicious.
Right. And she's a history major, and she really, really wants to check it out.
Yeah.
And her boyfriend is a medical student, and he's not into it at all, and he's not really into her.
Yeah. We're going to circle back around to that here in just a minute. So he's kind of like, we're already, like, you've already brought us so far off our plan. And he's like he doesn't want to change the plan. And, but adventurous girl is like, ooh, can we, you know, and like getting real excited. And the other guy is just like, wherever I can drink, basically.
Yeah.
I don't think he was sober on their entire trip.
Probably not.
So she makes the deciding vote of, yeah, I want to go. And Dr. Douchebag is like, fine. So they go out way the fuck out into this pasture, essentially.
They're taken out there by the old man who told them about it and his son.
And the old man has this gold Rolex.
Suspicious,
but he leaves it behind in this house. And in the middle of the night...
but before that, I mean, there are so many things about this. I'd be like, nope. I'm noping on this one. They get out there, and it's a sort of dilapidated cabin. They call it a cabin in the woods, but it's not really in the woods.
It's on the outskirts of the woods.
Yeah.
There is a wooded area, but it's on the outskirts.
But they mention the Rolex. He starts to conflict himself in the story that he tells about people that come out there and stay at this cabin. And
leaving him gifts.
Yeah, leaving him gifts. It's weird. Giving him gifts. Like, who gives somebody a Rolex, right? Yeah. Because that's where he said the Rolex came from. But then there's something that's stirring in the grass. And him and his son get their shotguns out and start shooting at it. And they're like, oh, don't worry about it. It's just wild boar.
Yeah. Okay, everybody get in.
Yeah, everybody get in now. Have a good night at the cabin.
Where a wild boar is apparently outside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't think so.
Right. But we need them to stay there for a movie. And so basically what it is that this town, the history of it is that they found a mine.
Yeah.
A gold mine.
Yeah, not that long ago, too. Like 15 years ago, I think they said.
Something like that.
Yep.
And they went in and they mined it.
Yeah.
Well, the mine eventually collapsed or something. And so things are a little bit different now. Well, what they discover is that it wasn't a mine. It was a cave. It was a cave where a leprechaun lived, and the leprechaun had gold. And the town took the gold, but the leprechaun won't kill the people in the town as long as they basically give him something to eat instead.
Yeah, they're kind of on a payment plan.
Yeah. And this time the town has decided these 4 instead of one or two, because maybe that will be a forward payment so that we don't have to do much next time.
Right.
And they have to do this every summer.
Yeah.
The son actually at one point in time where you see where he's kind of got a little bit of reservation. He's like, I hate the summer or whatever.
Yeah.
And like Drunky was like, Drunky McDrinks a lot. It's like, who hates the
summer? Yeah.
And I'm like, I kind of do. It fucking sucks.
It's sweaty.
It's gross. I can't swim, so I ain't going to a pool. Fuck off. I do feed people to leprechauns though. So most people don't know this, that Jason's not just Irish. He is like a full-blooded leprechaun.
Yes.
But he's also got gigantism.
Yes.
So
I have a leprechaun with gigantism.
Yep.
Yes.
So
that's my medical condition.
Yep. So I feed people to him every summer. It's fantastic.
In fact, he made me little English muffin pizzas, and I bet there were people in them.
Yeah, the crumbled up the sausage.
Yeah.
That's people.
Totally.
Yep.
But at this point in time, I want to talk about
Yes.
some of the vibes we were getting.
Yep.
We were getting some big time midsummer vibes.
Absolutely.
Kind of weird to the degree of holy shit. You know, I mean,
Is it possible that Midsummer ripped this movie off?
right, which is ridiculous. I know, but damn it. I mean, you're talking about this summer ritual of human sacrifice, right? You're talking about these 4 college students,
One of which is writing a thesis.
right? Like a
And the other
history.
one's in the medical.
And one of the medical, yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, one of them, yeah, like writing like their history thesis, or basically to get into graduate school, I think, and is specializes in a specific like
ancient culture.
Ancient culture. She can read some Gaelic, right? It's kind of fucking fascinating. It's like, what is this? Are we? You know,
There are things that are symbolic that they see. You know,
yeah, they kind of come in when they are walking into town. They kind of come in through the same sort of pasture-like place, right? And yeah, they see these symbols. And yeah, it was like heavy Midsummer vibes. I mean, that's pretty much where it ends. Like when the monster attacks is sort of where that whole thing ends.
right where the monster attacks.
But there's a thematic resemblance there.
Yes, where the monster attacks is
Oh.
kind of a little bit more like a Stephen King-y kind of, maybe like a Silver Bullet type of, like a werewolf.
Yeah,
vibe.
It's sort of like the vampires from that show, The Strain. They sort of look like them.
Oh yeah, no, I was just thinking of like the thematically, you're trapped inside. That thing can get in.
Yeah.
You don't know how it's getting in or whatever. It's a little bestial in that way. Like it's smelling you out basically.
One real quick point to close the loop on the Midsummer vibe was a lot of that stuff is sort of in, you know, any kind of pagan story, right? The thing that was really kind of mind-blowing to me was the relationship between her and her boyfriend.
Yeah, so our main technically our main 2 characters. Yeah, that was because he seems like a stick in the mud. She's just trying to do her thing.
Yeah.
And it's almost like, dude, why are you even here if this is so painful for you to be?
And he does not seem to into her.
Well, yeah, because at one point she's like in her bra and panties, and she's like, yeah, because she was talking about even taking a break or going to a completely different school.
Well, yeah, she was going to take a month or a year off from Berkeley to go to Cambridge, I believe, where he was going to medical school.
Yes.
And I guess it was the first time he was hearing about that plan, or maybe they had talked about it, but he did not seem receptive
right,
to it
because
at
she's
all.
like, what do you think about that? And he's like, well, that would be interesting.
Yeah, he's very cold to it.
Yeah, and then she's like in her bra and panties. She's like, well, you wouldn't want to leave all this. And I'm like, dude, if you don't, I do it.
Yeah, so it's pretty clear that
and then like she wants to kind of have some sexy time, and he just wants to read a stupid book,
stupid medical book.
and so she just goes to sleep. It's sad.
But I thought that was kind of interesting that that there was that element to the story. But yeah, then
later also, when Beer Goggles gets attacked by the leprechaun, and he gets his leg all fucked up, he falls down at one point, and his girlfriend and our main girl's boyfriend kind of look back and it's like, fuck him.
Yeah.
And I mean, now granted, I am 100% on board with the idea that I only have to be faster than one other person when a monster is chasing me.
Yeah.
But I preferably it not be one of my friends.
Right.
I'd rather it be an ass, somebody who's been a total ass the whole time. And this guy has not been. So she goes back to help him, but the other two are just like, take off.
Yep.
It happens twice between the main girl and the boyfriend, because at one point in time she falls down while they're trying to run for a truck, and he just keeps going to the truck. And she's like, why didn't you come back? Which is a very valid question when you're like trying to fight for your life.
Let's try to get to the truck
so we can get
out of
It's
here.
like, he would have taken off. He would have just kept driving.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was looking for a way to be rid of her.
He does sort of redeem himself, but really because he had no choice.
Yeah, okay, he gets one of the most karmic deaths I've ever seen. So this little fucking weenie ass, who's a real yellow belly. He gets his spine ripped out of him.
Oh yeah, yeah, you're right.
He becomes
it's
literally
irony.
spineless.
Yes, it's irony.
Which happens when the one moment he is the most, the most noble, I guess.
Yeah.
Where it's like, you go do your thing. I'm gonna fight him off. That lasted no time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean, and all of this, and what I really like about this too, is that the goal is just to get beyond the marker that keeps the leprechaun in this area.
Yeah. And
now granted, she does her action thing at the end to like try to kill the leprechaun. I don't think that would work. I don't know if it worked. I don't remember.
Well, she cut the thing's head off.
That's right.
Yeah.
She did. So I guess that works.
Yeah, it probably worked.
Probably. But
and she was gung-ho about killing it. Like
she saw all of her friends die.
Yeah.
I mean, she's had a pretty traumatic.
Even before that, she says, "We're going to kill this thing." You know?
Yes.
Yeah.
At one point, it's like
because they go back to the house to set the trap.
They have to set the trap because they can't get beyond the marking.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is a pretty gruesome scene. With the friend.
Oh God.
So
one of the best scenes in this entire series.
We're not totally sure why the friend is where she is.
Okay,
in the context of the scene.
Yeah, I'll set it up.
Set it up.
Yeah. So basically, main girl's like, all right, we're gonna kill this thing, and what's left because Boozy is dead. Yeah. He's been completely and totally chewed up.
So yeah, he got his leg bit, and then later on when they got kidnapped again by the Irish dude and his son, they were tied up for the monster to come attack.
He got his stomach.
And he got his stomach all
his abdomen ripped up,
and killed,
but he still survived long enough to
free everyone.
To free his girlfriend, give her the machete to free the other two. Now the poor girlfriend also. She's the first person attacked by the leprechaun early on.
Oh, yeah.
Because she's wearing a gold earring that he rips out of her ear.
Yeah.
Then she's got a gold tongue post. And he rips that out of her tongue.
Yeah, just rips. Ooh, that's gross. Yeah. That's gross.
So then they get back to the house and they're like, okay, we need to set a trap. Because they're also adorned with gold things to get the leprechaun to come to them. So they decide, okay, we're going to set the trap with this. Main girl and boyfriend are inside with a machete,
like an axe, a pickaxe,
a pickaxe and a machete.
Yeah,
and so it's like, okay, there's this little passage into the fireplace. We'll hang that up there, and we'll lure him in. Now, apparently, at some point, the other girl had slipped out and is hiding in the crawl space. I guess because she's kind of like, I'm just going to fend for myself.
Yeah, I don't know why.
I don't know why. There was a scene missing.
I agree, and it cheapens the what happens a little bit because of that.
I don't know, man.
But it's still pretty. It's still pretty good.
So okay, what happens then?
Well, the monster spots her, and she's like, oh shit, I'm fucked. So she's gonna crawl into the little passage from the outside in through the chimney where they're waiting, because that's where the monster's going to come through, which is a pretty dumb move on her part. But she comes through it, and they instinctively think it's the monster because they hear him growling outside, and they level their machete and their pickaxe down onto her head and just like totally just impale her head.
Yeah, they fucking slice her head in two, basically.
Yeah, I mean, it's gruesome.
It's gruesome and pretty awesome.
Yeah. And then the creature pulls her out.
I thought the creature pulled her out from under the house, threw her in there maybe, and then pulled her out and it's like, ha, I got you.
That's a pretty smart move.
Yeah. I think he did all of that.
Okay. I can buy that.
But either which way,
it happened pretty fast.
And it was pretty awesome.
Yeah, that was I think I would say probably the kills in this
pretty good.
Were pretty really good. Yeah, like probably the goriest of the series to date. There's some pretty good ones in the last one, which we'll talk about here in a minute. But yeah, like that one I think was the moment of like probably the most horrific moment in the entire franchise.
Yeah.
And because I think rightfully so, it was in a movie that wasn't really playing for laughs.
No.
This movie was meant to be gory and scary and
from
and,
moment one it wants to be a horror
and
movie.
Monster Palooza. Yeah.
And it does not at all even really tell a joke.
Not really.
I mean, there's a little bit of banter between
Yeah.
friends, but none of that's really meant to be anything beyond normal banter between friends.
There really aren't any like stupid one-liners until the very end.
The very end. Now, this, I feel like this was a studio note.
Yeah.
So the
it's
very
very
end,
out of place.
Yeah. So the very end. Yeah. Vince McMahon's like, I think it should say this.
This is a Leprechaun movie, right?
Yeah. So at the very end,
that's what Vince McMahon
I don't
sounds
know
like.
either. You're not an employee. So lady gets to the marker, but she still wants to kill this thing, and so she spots the monster. Monster's coming for her, and she's about to cut its head off, and she says, "Fuck you, Lucky Charms."
Yeah.
Sure.
Dumb. It's dumb.
Sure, whatever.
But then she slices its head off.
I bet take one was, can you smell what The Rock is cooking? And they're like, fuck, that's not going to work.
That one's taken.
Yeah, that one's taken. Yeah, but anyway, I quite like this movie.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, it doesn't waste any time getting to the good shit.
I would say that it's maybe 15 minutes too long.
I think it does drag a bit in the last act. They could wrap things up quicker.
Well, considering they're bouncing back and forth between two houses,
Yeah.
that's
But it's not terrible because I like it too because there's not just the creature to contend with.
There's the
but
Irish
there's
family.
Irish family to contend with, and it's basically this whole town. Like if you had a better budget,
Oh yeah,
you
because at
could
one
have
point
you could have
in time-
really played that up.
Yeah, at one point they flag down a lady driving her chickens or something someplace.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh, okay. Well, let me take you to this place." Well, God, I don't know what accent that was. Don't worry about it.
But of course she's in
She's in on
cahoots.
it.
Yeah, I mean this whole town is in cahoots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, this movie knew what it wanted to be, and it stayed consistent in that.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
applaud that. Now, is this a Leprechaun movie?
No.
But even if they kept the name Leprechaun, or they said this is just a flat out reboot, we're going to start all over, and now the Leprechaun's going to be this thing, fine. It probably would have been better to have had another name like Midsummer.
But
Irish Midsummer, Irish Spring.
But guaranteed this movie shipped, 50,000 more copies because it was Leprechaun Origins.
Yeah. Now, granted, we live in
50,000? Probably not that many, huh?
probably not that many, but we do live in a time where
10,000.
we hear everybody's opinions on shit.
Yeah.
And I'm sure people hated this movie.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure people it's not fucking Leprechaun.
It is a 0 on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, it
but
only
it's
had 7 reviews from critics. What was
Yeah.
the audience score? Audience score couldn't have been a 0.
well, no, audience score is never a 0.
Some of the things that Wikipedia quoted from the reviews were slasher movies of this ilk come with a certain. First of all, it's not a fucking slasher movie, but come with a certain expectation of quality. But even the cheapest, most shoddy productions can manage some thrills, kills, and laughs with memorable characters and a cohesive plot when skilled filmmakers are at the helm. Leprechaun Origins, unfortunately, offers none of these things. That's horseshit.
That's horseshit.
That's totally horseshit.
That's writing. That's writing for your audience, or writing because you think that's.
I don't know what that is, but it's horseshit. We got this covered, criticized the movie for being overly cliched.
Fuck them. Fuck that website.
And that, yeah, I don't agree with that either. Honestly,
10% audience score.
scares-
That's the lowest I've ever seen. That is the lowest I've ever seen any movie ever at.
this is funny. I mean, they'd say it ripped off Jurassic Park. It's like, what?
Okay, so any chase movie is ripping off
Or like
Jurassic
or
Park?
like any basically he's referring to the long grass scene, but it's like, seriously? Are you shitting me? Like
Really?
Jurassic Park has a
Are we holding on
a
to
monopoly
It's
on.
not just Jurassic Park. It's the Lost World.
Yeah, that's he's specific.
It's like
to Lost
it's,
World, but
are we holding on to the Lost World that much? The movie
Right?
that everybody says they hate, but they probably really don't. Yeah. Ugh. Anyway,
It's not that bad.
it's not that bad. It's plenty fine. Ignore the name. Even if they say, "Oh, it's a leprechaun," nobody's going to say, "Oh, I thought that was the little guy who was an Ewok once upon a time."
right. Yeah.
No, I mean
It's
fine.
some
fine.
things that we should mention just for the sake of consistency. The Limerick-o-meter is obviously a 0
because the leprechaun doesn't talk.
He says nothing in any intelligible language. He grunts and groans and things, but
Yeah,
that could be
he's a little monster.
Maybe he rhymed in his monster language.
In which case we didn't realize it. He rhymed 147 times.
Yes. This also did introduce a new concept that I like to refer to as a lepra vision. The POV of the leprechaun was in like a weird sort of yellowish green, more yellow than green.
Well, people were much more yellow.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
I guess it's sort of like a heat vision, maybe.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
'Cause he was pretty talented at night.
Yeah.
I will say my biggest complaint on this movie, it could have shaved 10 or 15 minutes off.
And it was still only like 75 minutes long.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
It could have still shaved some time off, but what I really have to kind of come down on is the fact that we never really get a good look at the monster.
Yeah.
They blur it or they fisheye lens it, and they're doing weird effects with it. It's I mean, what that is we've got enough money for a really bitchin' head and shoulders. You can't get anything else from this. So it's like they can't show you enough. They can't show you much of it without breaking it down.
Yeah, and I think I had a couple other than budget. Obviously, my other theory on this, and it's probably harebrained, but but it's a Leprechaun movie, and they're like, who are going to cast as the Leprechaun? And maybe they felt like it needed to go to a little person. If they're going to put someone in a monster suit, you don't want to take a job away from a little person if you're making a Leprechaun movie, especially since Warwick Davis, I think, actually declined to come back for this movie.
Yeah, he certainly did for Leprechaun Returns.
So maybe, they put a little person in there, and that actually kind of worked in a lot of cases because you could get them in some tighter spots, and there's some articulation in the face and in the hands that worked really well in tight shots. But there was a strange sort of feeling that the monster was much bigger than that, and like you never really got, like Jeff said, you never quite got a good full glimpse of it. But there were moments where the monster seemed much larger than it was when it was in those tight shots, where you could kind of tell that there was a little person in the suit. So, yeah, I think they were sort of conflicted on where the monster design would end.
Yeah.
And how it would work practically.
Well, there were times.
And then obviously money was a factor.
There were times when you would see it off in the distance, or it was like a long shot, or if it was just a brief flash of it off in the distance. And at times it almost looked like it was built like a dog.
Yeah, yeah. It had like a longer body, but yet sometimes it looked like it was standing upright like a small person.
Yeah.
Which was strange. Yeah, I agree. That was the thing that I kept trying to get my brain around was, what is this creature?
Right. And, and in some ways, I'm not going to lie, there are times where I don't always want to see the monster,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Blair Witch to me is scary because you don't see the monster. Even the sequel, you don't really see much of a monster.
I think this one teases it enough though to where
you should see it.
Where it should have the money shot.
It should have your third act money shot.
Yeah.
Or middle second act money shot.
Yeah.
Like I expected once we hit the 40 or 45 minute marks, like that's when we're going to see it.
Yep.
And we did, but not really.
Yeah.
It was very disorienting to see it. And that's weird to have that effect from our point of view and not from like the Leprechaun point of view, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because the Leprechaun point of view, you can make that look however you want. He's a monster, whatever. But from the people looking at it in certain scenes, it shouldn't be shaky.
Right.
It's weird.
Right. Agreed.
Yeah. Anyway, unless he was doing something to them. if it was a thing where he disorients people by being present or instilling fear, that would be a cool thing to add to the legend. But that doesn't, when you don't explain that, then you can't have shaky vision on the monster.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Should we?
But yeah, to just put a cap on it, we liked it.
I did.
And it satisfied our odd numbered Leprechaun movies,
Yeah.
our good theory.
Yes. Yeah, right to the end.
I feel like, well, if anybody listens to this episode and is one of those people, we might take some shit for liking this movie, but fuck them. I liked it.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? I liked it too.
Yeah.
And if I mean, I can tell you one thing. I know Jason likes highbrow stuff.
I do.
And some highbrow stuff. And I have a monster show every Monday to satisfy both of our needs to be in tense-y, horror-y, monster-y business. So we know what we're talking about.
This would probably make a good Monster Monday.
Yeah, kind of would.
It's sort of almost,
actually, any of these movies could.
Yeah, but this one I think in particular because it
truly is a monster.
And you could highlight, I think, 3 really solid things to like.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, this is basing itself more off of almost like a Grimm Brothers style fairy tale type of creature. Mm-hmm. Not the romanticized cereal box guy.
Yeah.
Or, what you see everywhere on March 17th.
Right.
Bars.
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right. So
here we are at the end of the line.
Yeah. Last one.
Leprechaun Returns. The name of this movie is really, really important because it is the first and only absolute direct sequel to the original.
Sure is.
We've always said these are not the same leprechauns from one movie to the next. And they make it pretty clear by usually having some sort of opening scene that explains that.
There's usually a change in mythology. There's a change in the mystical powers of the leprechaun.
There's no reference to a previous movie.
There's a reference to a previous movie. There probably are different ways to stop it or kill it.
Yeah.
Different things that it's susceptible to. Yeah. They're all very different.
Yes. But this time, no bones about it, this is the return of the melty one that's at the bottom of the well outside of Jennifer Aniston's house.
Yes.
I mean, go there right now. Go to Jennifer Aniston's house. Look in the well. That leprechaun is no longer there because it's alive again.
It's alive again.
Yeah.
It's hitchhiking.
Yes. So
to
what?
Bismarck.
To Bismarck. So we return to North Dakota, and Jennifer,
who incidentally have their own postal service.
Yeah,
North
so
Dakota
we'll get to
Postal
that.
Service.
We'll get to a couple of the funny signages that are in this movie. So Jennifer Aniston's character, Tori, is who she was in the first one, way back when, back before our brains were melted by this series. Her daughter is now in college. She's going to college. The house that she's going to live in, that's a sorority, I guess, was the house that Jennifer Aniston's character's dad bought in Leprechaun 1. They sold it to the university, and now I guess she gets a free ride to the university. I don't know.
I guess.
I don't know. She's going back. Doesn't matter. All of that doesn't matter. The point is we're back at square one. And along the way, she sees Otis. Good old Otis. And there's a super charming scene with... what's the girl?
Ozzy.
What's the girl's name?
The girl's name is Lila.
Yeah. So Lila meets Ozzy, and there's this super charming scene.
Oh, it really is.
And Ozzy is kind of still PTSD over what happened, and he's sad. I mean, he's the only one who stayed, and you don't know what happened to the two brothers.
Yeah.
I'm assuming one of them is Lila's dad. Wouldn't you think? The older
one, you would think.
Maybe.
But probably not.
But probably not because they don't make any attempt to say that.
Right.
But anyway,
And it's sort of like set up, and she's at the bus station waiting for her ride to the house that Jennifer Aniston owned, and
her roommates suck.
yeah, they are terrible.
They are
and
terrible
they're terrible
people.
from the start because nobody picks her up, and it's an hour and a half later.
They're bitchy to her. They're just
So we
assholes.
see Ozzy come around the corner, walking toward her, and she's like, "Oh, please don't stop and talk to me. Please don't stop and talk to me." It's,
she's nervous. And
yeah,
she
she's in a strange place, and it's kind of
she's never been around many
a
people.
yokel-y looking dude. You never know how that's gonna go. She's a cute young white girl on a bench, or a girl, I should say. That's like a Joe Biden moment right there.
Whoa.
That's not what I meant, but anyway, you know what I mean. She's probably like encountered lecherous men before.
Real quick, I got a funny story because I don't know when and if we'll ever cover this movie. Went to go see Saving Private Ryan with one of my very best friends in all my life. It was from my best friend from high school, and it was during the summer before he went back to college. We're watching this movie, and at one point during the war scenes, people are being shot and falling down and everything, and it's a little, it's very immersive.
Mm-hmm.
And he leans over to me, and it's like, "Are those Germans or real people dying?" That became a thing for a little while.
Oh, that's funny. That's nice.
Yeah. But anyway.
But of course it's Ozzy, and we see that
Yes.
it's Ozzy because he's got his paint truck and everything. And
He still can't paint very well.
no.
It's all over the truck. But what we don't see is what also it says on the. So he offers her a ride.
Yeah, she
And-
declines.
And she declines because it's like, oh, somebody was supposed to pick me up. And then she decides, maybe the best way out of this is to call it
he also,
a cab.
it's a cute little thing because he says, I thought you looked like you needed help, and you remind me of someone that I used to know.
Yeah.
And I was like,
And he's
"Aw."
really kind of sad about it.
Yeah.
And so she pulls out her phone, goes to Boogly, not Google, Boogly.
Boogly. There's all sorts of weird stuff like that.
Yeah, so she goes to Boogly. I want to say it's probably started by Mr. Boogity. But anyway, so she goes to Boogly and types in taxi service, and Boogly says, here's a number. She calls it. It's Ozzy.
Yep.
Because the other thing it says on the side of the truck is paint and taxi service. So she's like, and he's like, hello, and she realizes the sentence is like, I need a ride. And now they're friends.
Yeah.
So they figure out who each other were.
Yeah.
And so on. She gets to the house.
I like the moment where he inquires about her mom.
Yeah,
And
how's she doing?
And
Yeah.
she tells her that she passed, and he sort of mourns that for a moment,
Yeah.
for a beat. It's a sweet scene. Like, it was unexpected.
Yeah, there's an amount of what's the word I'm looking for? It's one of those fancy words. Anyway, doesn't matter. It makes you think, or it makes you, it's heavy. It's a nice little. They didn't have to do it like this,
Right.
but there's reverence at least towards it.
And I think part of what what's really everything that sells it is Mark Holton.
Yes,
He throws himself back into this weird character he played 25 years ago, and
obviously mentally diminished in one way or another.
Yeah. And he totally embraces Ozzy again.
Yep.
And it really comes through, and it's sweet.
Yeah, it really is. So she gets left at the house, and she meets her first friend, the black girl. What was
We're
her
gonna put friend in quotation marks.
Yeah. What was
I don't know who was who, but we have Katie, Rose, and Meredith.
Katie? So she meets Katie, and she also meets Rose. Rose is this real uppity bitch. Katie's just a bitch. And then later, Meredith, who's supposedly this super granola vegan lady,
Is just drunk.
is just a constant drunk and a super bitch.
She
She is.
She's one of those people who has something negative to say about everything.
And everyone.
And everyone.
And then she'll pass it off. Oh, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
It's like, you're going to be in government someday.
Just kidding.
Just kidding.
What?
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 She's
Anyway,
awful.
Rose is all about making the place, I don't know, environmentally friendly, but it seems like she's in over her head.
So from my understanding, she has set up a sorority for this university, and it's the first sorority or fraternity that the university has had.
I don't believe that, but then again, it looked like an online university.
But
when they were
it's
driving
also I think the university's not that old.
Fair enough.
And they bought this house that's going to be their sorority house that they're going to make eco-friendly, like totally 100% carbon neutral, and that's kind of like their plan.
They never used that word,
right? But that's the idea, and they're going to grow their own food and they're going to raise their own goats and all of this and that. And she is very taskmaster. She's like got the schedule, and this is what we got to do. We got to be up at 6 a.m. And she's a lot to
I would have
handle.
been like, hey, Ozzy, can I live at your place?
Yeah. Ozzy, we need a roommate.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Anyway, the leprechaun comes back because Ozzy realizes he's dropped his phone at the front of where he dropped off Lila. So when he goes back, he hears the leprechaun in the well. And when he goes over to it, a bunch of green splooge
It was kind of
facials him.
Yeah. That's really kind of what it looked like.
Yeah, he took it like a champ.
Right in the face.
Right in the face.
Yep.
Whew. Anyway, so he starts driving on.
Knocked him on his ass.
Knocked him on his ass.
And he was spitting water out of his mouth, too.
Right. So he's driving off, and he's like, it's just a coincidence. It's not back. It's not back. Then all of a sudden...
He takes his four-leaf, like...
Yeah, the inside of his
I
truck.
fucking love Ozzy. And inside of his truck is all stickers of four-leaf clovers and shit. And at one point, Lila asks him on the ride to the house, Are you Irish or something? And he answers, No.
No.
But he approaches the well with this like spinny four-leaf clover,
like a pinwheel.
Pinwheel, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it's funny.
Yeah. So the leprechaun bursts out of Ozzy.
Yeah, he's xenomorphs right the fuck out of
kills
Ozzy's chest, which kind of sucked.
Yeah, it kind of does. But I was like, oh, maybe he'll come back as a blue force ghost.
Yeah.
And he sure as fuck did.
He actually does.
He actually does. He helps Lila. He can't talk. He can't conjure that spirit energy. Like I said, you need to turn on a thing that will change radio stations every half second so he can talk through it.
The thing that was genius about the fact that the leprechaun rebirths from his stomach is because he still had the gold coin in his stomach that he had swallowed in the first movie
25 years earlier.
That to me is great.
Yeah. So leprechaun shenanigans. Now, meanwhile, we also meet a couple of guys. One is what was the first girl's name? The black girl's name?
Rose.
Rose she has no boyfriend. That's not going to happen.
Katie.
Katie's boyfriend, ex-boyfriend, but they still fuck constantly.
Right.
He is just a dude bro douchebag. Then you've got, is it Mark?
It was Andy and Matthew.
Matthew is a wannabe filmmaker, and he likes to drop references.
He's just dropping like director names in totally
weird ways
and not inappropriate, but just the wrong context.
Yeah.
Like when he talks about like his drone shot that he got, it was like dropping David Lean. It's like, are you serious?
Yeah, I'm making the house a character.
Oh
fuck
god,
off.
it was awful.
Eat dick.
Yeah, he was really bad.
Yeah, he was terrible. But he's got the
both
hots
both
for
the
Lila.
male characters were pretty. Honestly, most of the characters
are incredibly unlikable.
are pretty bad.
But then you think, okay, well, you've got Lila's likable.
Yes, they kill Ozzy.
And Ozzy's likable. I like the new Leprechaun guy.
I do too. Lyndon Porco.
Yeah, he was giving it a very cartoonish vibe. Like his face would light up at times, and he would say things just in a very cartoonish voice. I really appreciated that.
I did too. He he's pretty young. Was only about 20 years old.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he was born in 1996.
Wow, he really kind of threw himself into it.
He really did. You could tell that there was an energy behind that. I think if Warwick Davis had decided to come back, it would have just been like, I don't know, probably just going through the motions. But this guy, I think, was really what they needed.
Yeah.
If this movie's going to work at all,
they need a good Leprechaun.
Yep.
Not to say that Hornswoggle wasn't very, but that's not the same thing.
It wasn't the same thing.
It wasn't the same thing.
It wasn't the same thing.
He was good for being a monster.
He was more of like a body to manipulate.
Almost like a stuntman would play a masked character.
Right. Yeah, he's like the Kane Hodder kind of. Yeah.
And which is fine.
Sure.
But
Lyndon Porco had to truly give a performance.
Yeah.
Like a theatrical performance, if you will.
He sure did.
Yeah.
And he sure delivered.
Yeah, he's great.
So when I think about this, like most of these, like the writing is kind of poking fun at millennials.
Yeah.
It's kind of poking fun at woke people.
Yeah, conservationism.
Yeah, like the silliness of being so uptight about every little thing that at the end of the day, all you're doing is getting no enjoyment out of it.
Yeah,
it's kind of the vibe,
it's sort of like,
I was getting.
Maybe live your life a little bit too.
Yeah,
yeah.
It's like maybe don't be like Meredith, where she's like a fucking fall down drunk.
Right.
But she's also the vegan, which is also, I think, kind of maybe poking a little fun at those people who are, and I really do not like this term, but they're virtue signaling, but they're also the ones who also have a lot of
baggage.
Well, not just baggage, but the angels they want to project.
Well, they're
themselves to be.
they're hypocritical.
Yes.
They're hypocrites.
And so yes, they are poking a little bit of fun at that, which I can appreciate to a certain extent.
Yeah.
But you know what that does? Makes me root for the Leprechaun.
Yep. But honestly,
why not?
Why not? He's pretty damn likable in this movie.
Yeah.
He's the third most likable character. Arguably the second most likable character.
The second most likable character who isn't just let's put him in from, because he was in the first one character.
Right. And to be honest too, this ain't really a movie about good and evil, and you're not really supposed to root for anyone really. It's silliness. It's silly like the rest of the Warwick Davis ones are silly.
Yeah.
And really what you're there for is the limericks, the fun, the performance of the Leprechaun, and the kills.
So let's talk about the kills.
Yeah.
Because there's some pretty inventive ones.
Absolutely. I thought the kills in this were great.
You had Birth and Leprechaun to begin, so that's pretty good.
It was.
The next person to get it is...
it was one of the boys, Andy. He gets... the solar panel.
Okay, but this is set up because next day
he did
after
it to himself.
He did it to himself. the day after Andy and Katie had sex again after being broken up or whatever, which by the way, she keeps saying I'm not going to have sex, but she totally
every time
is doing sexy mopping. Yeah, and he's like charging them up and everything, which is pretty funny. But they're kind of arguing about how to install this solar panel.
Yeah.
To which Katie has said, I've done it before.
You're doing it wrong.
You're doing it wrong. He's like, oh, what difference does it make? You're being weird.
You're being weird because we had sex again.
Yeah, so let's not. And she's like, we're not going to do sex ever again. And they pretty much don't because he did do it wrong, which causes the solar panel to fall off the roof, bisecting him.
Yeah, from the head down,
like one of those
like the body art installations where they
like the Cell.
Like the Cell.
The 2000 movie with was that Vince Vaughn and
it was.
Yeah, was D'Onofrio also in that? Was he the weirdo?
D'Onofrio was the weirdo.
Yeah.
And Vince Vaughn was the cop.
Both Vaughn and D'Onofrio in the same movie. That's weird. And then you had then J-Lo. But yeah, at one point they had a horse that was bisected like that. It's fucking killer.
It was based on a famous artist who did that. Who would segment like the human body, and display it in. And Susan is probably, she'll never listen to this, but she'd kill me for not coming up with this guy's name. But yeah,
wow. Make sure
he's had a long-standing exhibit in Las Vegas. This guy, and I'm pretty sure he's the one who designed all of the segmentation stuff for the cell. I could be wrong on that.
Yeah. So he's dead.
But yeah, it was very similar to that. It was like sliced.
Yeah.
Right in half.
And that comes back a little bit later in a funny way too. Like just to continue their little aggravation with one another between Katie and Andy. The next person, it takes a long time for some of these unlikable people to die. That's one complaint I have about this.
And it's a big one.
Because you go an hour with everybody.
Yeah.
And it's like, as you said, there's plenty of cannon fodder here. Let's do something about it. It's not like the first Leprechaun where you can't really kill any of those people. He had to leave and go into town to kill people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it was such a small cast at there, and you don't really want to. Yeah. Anyway, who was the next person? Was it Meredith? Because
it was either the other dude.
I think Meredith died first,
or it was Meredith.
One or the other. Meredith is a real backstabbing bitch. She's just a real big bitch. She makes a deal with the Leprechaun. Oh God, there is something that happens a couple of times in this movie between Meredith and Andy. Both times they're approached by the Leprechaun, and they want to take selfies with him. That was a funny recurring gag.
It was pretty funny.
But anyway, Meredith makes a deal by saying, if I give you Lila, you promise to let me go. I won't lay a hand on you.
Right.
Deal.
Right.
Of course.
Classic play on, words, trickery.
Yep.
Yeah. I won't lay a hand on you, but I never said I wouldn't kill you.
Right. And so he kills her by way of water spigots. Spigots?
Yeah.
Spigots.
And one of them gets lodged in her mouth and
it
starts
starts
spriggeting blood. Yeah. But before that, we have to mention the true meta moment, because this happened after Meredith had first seen the Leprechaun, just right before this. And she comes out of the house and she's like, there's some kind of weird Irish dude, Irish midget or something in the house.
And Rose.
And they just think she's drunk. And then Rose, what does Rose say?
Rose says, it's probably just some crackhead who got into the wrong stuff.
Yes.
Which is exactly from what we will talk about last week.
Yes.
That's a weird sentence to say.
The Crichton Leprechaun.
The Crichton Leprechaun.
That is from that news video.
Yep. It's probably just a crackhead on the wrong stuff.
Got hold of the wrong stuff. Yeah. I looked at Jeff, my mouth agape. I couldn't believe it. They did it.
Yeah.
They tied it all together.
But the
that's art. That is art
imitating.
No, but it's
life imitating art.
Wait, but it's art. Wait, hold on.
Whoa, God!
It's art imitating life. Imitating art.
Let me wheel out the chalkboard here.
Art imitating life, imitating art. If you could call either one of those movies art.
Well, it's art. I mean, it's art whether it is artful or
not. But that's what happened.
Yeah.
Which is amazing.
Fantastic.
Absolutely.
So, the next dude that gets it is the Matthew.
Yes.
And old Matty boy has this fucking drone that at one point in time the Leprechaun rides, and that is fantastic. He's riding it like a fucking helicopter.
I'm really surprised we liked these last two movies as much as we did.
I know, right?
We really needed it.
We were really, yeah.
After crashing the last episode
Yeah,
and
that was-
losing about an
yeah.
hour and 20-minute episode, we were in the dumps.
But we brought it back together here. But anyway, so he gets the leprechaun takes control of his drone and decapitates Matthew.
Yes.
Okay, so that's pretty good.
It's pretty good. The blood splurts everywhere. It
Oh
looks-
God! And it keeps splurting
Yeah.
a long time.
They go back to his dead body 10, 15 minutes later. It's still splurting blood.
Yeah. Rose. Oh God, Rose gets it good. Okay, so Rose has this gardening trowel, golden trowel.
She does get it good.
And so there's a whole thing that Rose and Katie and Lila do to get the leprechaun to come back to the house, and they are going to fill him full of clover
Juice, because that's the new trendy drink.
And Meredith's all about it. And she's got buckets of it.
Yeah, because what was it before?
But I never saw her drink anything that wasn't alcohol.
Oh, they said that kale juice is so last year or something. Yeah.
I'm so over kale.
It's all clover
Yeah.
juice now. Which that was made reference to pretty early on, and
Yeah.
Jeff and I gave each other a look like
uh-oh.
Yeah.
So anyway, Rose was the one who started all the trouble because she took the gold
Yeah.
to get paid for the house renovations because the GoFundMe was not ever going to happen.
Right.
Oh,
And they find the gold.
they find the gold, and so what they're like, okay, we're going to beat him at his own game. We're going
Yeah.
to trick him. So they stuff the pot full of tampons.
to
And then
make
put
the
the
gold on top. So it looks like it's full of gold, but it's full of tampons with a little gold on top.
Yeah. So they lure the leprechaun back, knowing that it's not going to really work, right? So what they do is they trick him. They shove a hose into his throat. They pump him full
Well,
of clover.
They bind him with iron first. Somehow, I can't remember how they did that, but they
did
they
something
bound
with
him
iron.
somehow with iron, and then when he was immobilized, they put the tube down his throat and pumped him full of clover juice, and
Right,
and he
and he
explodes.
But he mentioned the reason why he survived was that if you leave one piece of a leprechaun, you didn't actually kill it.
Right.
Well, now there's a whole bunch of pieces of leprechaun. So it's like gremlins, he starts forming out of the stuff.
The multitude of bits.
Yes.
And makes little leprechaun versions of
Yes,
himself.
but they're all tricksy.
Yeah.
So they basically make it so that Rose eventually trips and falls face first onto her golden trowel, dead. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Love it. Now Rose and not Rose, Katie and Lila both survive, but Lila gets some shrapnel from something. Like she's got a piece of something sticking through her, but she survives.
Yeah.
And the leprechaun does survive, actually.
Yeah, the house explodes,
Which it should explode him,
but
too.
he gets out somehow.
Oh, the house explodes, and all of his blood flies into the air and lands on Lila and Katie.
Yeah.
As just kind of the FU.
The final FU, yeah.
And so, but then I guess he does survive because he reforms and he hitchhikes to Bismarck,
Yeah.
which is where the Cash for Gold place was that Rose took all the gold to.
That's right. I forgot that's where Bismarck was.
Because he asked where his gold. It's like, it's in Bismarck. Get it yourself.
That's so good.
Now, there is one other thing.
There's a couple things I have on my list still, but yeah, go ahead.
When they order pizza for their little party the first night they're all together,
Yes.
they order it from Legitimate Pizza.
It says it on the boxes, legitimate pizza. So good.
I love it. I love that sort of
Like
fake signage stuff.
Yeah, me too. Like that's so much fun for an artistic director
Yeah.
on a movie like this. Because they're like, we got to come up with some fake logo shit. We gotta have a search engine. We have to have a post office.
Yes. So the post office, let's talk about that real quick because I was trying to remember what was the other thing. So mailman's coming by delivering mail, and on the side of his truck, big as day, big as life, is North Dakota Postal Service. So I guess North Dakota has seceded from the Union.
Yeah.
How about that?
So amazing.
Yeah.
What else did you have? I like the fact that shoes are a thing in this again.
Again, yes. He straightens up Rose's closet.
Yeah.
And
he throws away her Crocs.
Yeah, he dunks on Crocs.
It's pretty funny.
He's like, I must be doing a favor to the fashion world.
Yes.
By getting rid of these.
Yes. Kind of a grody but funny moment. There is a pretty funny moment where
one of my favorite things about when he's like rearranging the, like he picks up a shoe and he puts it down real nice, like he stands back up, he shrugs and goes for the shrug is just like, huh, I'm just doing my thing. You know, it's like
Day in the life.
Yeah, it's like, what is wrong with these people? Whoa. You know, the little things like that just
he brought that performance. Like I have no doubt that was a conscious decision as an actor. So funny.
As an actor.
It's probably method. He probably stayed as Leprechaun on set all.
Well, he certainly stayed the same size.
Aw.
What? Prove he didn't.
There is a moment when Katie trips. Well, no, she doesn't trip yet. She sees her dead boyfriend.
Oh God,
who's still spurting blood.
Yes.
And she's like, all right, I'm going to jump over his body. And she does sort of that like awkward stutter start before you run and jump. And right when she jumps, she trips because she trips over his arm, which is closer to where his body is.
Right.
To her, though, and then the body. And then she falls face first into his like blood and guts.
Yeah. And then she gets mad at him like as if they're going to argue about it. Because she's like, we are so broken up. It's like, yeah, I think so.
There is a moment when I believe it's Lila says to the Leprechaun, I've got a limerick for you. Eat a dick, ass Baggins.
That's one of those
This is also the first one to actually call it a limerick.
Yes.
Right? We've had the limerick-o-meter for all of these movies, and it's the first time that word, I believe, has been used in the movies.
As far as I know.
Yeah.
We'll be checking in on the limerick-o-meter here in a moment.
We will be indeed. And then I think that was everything I had.
I really got enjoyment out of these last two.
Yeah.
And congratulations to Leprechaun Returns for breaking the mold on the evens.
Absolutely. They broke the even mold. It was a good, even numbered Leprechaun
As
movie.
it turned out, 6 to the good, 2 or 3 really to the bad.
Oof, yeah.
And 1 kind of in the middle.
Yeah. So let's recap on that.
Yeah, real quick. What's the limerick-o-meter?
All right. So we established that
L7.
L7, yes.
Was that
Andre? Yeah, L7. They were all chick punk band. They were awesome. And episode 8, or I should say part 8, or Leprechaun Returns, actually did clock in respectably with 12. 12 on the limerick meter, which would put it pretty solidly into 4th.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, not bad at all. All right, so let's
Should we do a ranking?
Let's do a ranking.
All right. Do you want to do a final limerick-o-meter count?
Yes.
All right. So, the ones with no limericks were parts 7 and 6. So, that would have been Back to the Hood and Leprechaun Origins.
Yes.
Had no limericks. With 3, Leprechaun 4, Leprechaun in Space, which we really struggled, as we said, to find 3, but sure, things rhymed. Then you had Leprechaun 1 with 7.
So we're at 10.
And then you had Leprechaun, this one, Leprechaun 8. So Leprechaun Returns with 12.
22.
And then you would be looking at Leprechaun 2 with 17.
39.
And then Leprechaun 5, Leprechaun in the Hood with 28.
So 67.
And then in first place by a mile. Leprechaun 3 with 41.
So like 109.
Yep.
Something like that.
Something like that.
109, 108, something like that.
So
pretty good.
Pretty good. That's a lot of
pretty
rhyming.
good.
That's a lot of rhyming, and that's not including the Leprechaun rap from Leprechaun in the Hood,
which would be like another 47.
Yeah.
So yeah, not too bad.
Not too bad.
All right. So
the rankings.
the rankings.
Do you want to go?
Yeah, I'll go. Leprechaun 3 is number 1 for
Okay.
me. I just loved that movie. I'm not saying it's technically the best, but I loved it. I legitimately loved that movie.
Okay.
Then I would say I'm going to say 1 comes in second
Okay.
with 5 and 8 real close. So, 5 and 8 are like third and
Okay.
or like there's 2A and 2B essentially.
Okay.
Then 9
Wait.
or no, 9.
7?
7.
I was like, damn, we have to watch another one?
I'm going to put in Hellraiser 9.
Yeah.
So that should put me.
So 7 was Origins. So you still need to rank 2, 6, and 4.
Okay. 2
Okay.
and 6 are pretty close.
Okay.
I think I even said
Yeah.
6 was a little bit better than 2, but we can put them on the same line.
All right.
And fucking turn the page, and at the very bottom of the next page, put that motherfucking 4.
Right. Right. Okay. I also agree. Leprechaun 3 was my favorite.
Yeah,
It's
that's fun.
It's just fun.
It's just fun. It's Leprechaun shenanigans in Las Vegas. How can that go wrong?
I would then say Leprechaun 1 as well.
Okay.
I think I might break the mold here a little bit though, and go with Leprechaun 8.
Wow. Okay.
No,
That's
just
fair.
think
That's
I think
about
it-
right. I mean, again, I'm looking at 2 A, B, and C.
Sure,
You
yeah.
know. So I mean, I'm like,
Then I'm probably Leprechaun 5, which like you said, you had 5 and 8 right in there
yeah.
with each other. But I definitely liked 8 more than 5 for
Fair
sure.
enough. Fair enough. I
Which
know
one-
you're not down with the rap.
Which one was 7? 7? Oh yeah, we like 7. I like 7.
7's monster movie.
would be next for me as well. And then we're in the sort of the last 3, right? 2, 6, and 4, which I gotta go with 2, then 6, then 4. So we're pretty simpatico.
Pretty close. Pretty close. Now, here's another big question. Where do you rank this compared to last year's Halloween extravaganza in the Hellraiser?
The
movies?
Hellraisers?
Because we struggled with a few of the Hellraisers. We struggled far more with Hellraisers than I think we did with with the bottom 3.
I wholeheartily agree. Shoot, man. I mean, there weren't a whole lot of Hellraiser movies I really liked.
Yeah, we got 1 and 2.
1 and 2 for sure.
5 was Inferno. That was really good.
Yep, liked Inferno.
You like 9 and 10 a little bit more than I think I did.
Yeah, I definitely did, but I'm not.
You're not beholden to them.
Yeah, and I'm not like itching to go see them again.
Yeah,
anytime
like
soon.
they're like I want to watch Leprechaun 3 again right now. Right now.
I would probably, if I was going to go back to, I'm trying to find the listing of these.
I'd watch Leprechaun. I'm definitely going to watch Leprechaun 3 probably every October.
Wow.
I got to find 31 movies to watch. Leprechaun 3 head and shoulders, knees and toes above all the rest of them in my opinion.
Okay, so let me try and do this.
All right.
So there were 10 of them, right?
10.
I know we ranked them, but I'm not going to try and remember how I ranked them. I'm going to remember which ones I actually liked. And I liked 1 and 2, and I liked 5, which is Inferno.
You like Bloodline a little bit more than I did too.
Which one was Bloodline? Oh, that's the space one. I kind of like that one. It's
because it also started with like Back in Time, and Adam Scott was there.
Yeah,
that was weird.
Yeah, that's a weird one. But I kind of like that one. I don't think either of us liked Hellseeker, Deader, or Hellworld.
I like Deader a little bit more than you did.
The Rick Boda trilogy.
I like Deader a little bit more.
Revelations, I think, could have been great if it had any money at all, and it was a satisfying sort of attempt to return to the roots of Hellraiser, but ultimately was a failure. And Judgment, I thought, was really interesting. So if I'm gonna say there are probably 4 Hellraiser movies that I would go back to. Being the first 2, Inferno and Judgment.
I think you liked initially 9 more than 10.
I might
because the thing is
I might
that
have even ranked it that way, but I think I like on reflection what
Judgment
you liked
better. About 9, and my problem with 9 was that it was not a finished movie.
Right.
They just released what they had, which wasn't much. It was like 70 minutes of a movie. But what you really liked about it was how they treated the box and the idea of the pleasure and pain of it, that it seemed to recapture Clive Barker's original
I would probably
idea.
go back to that. Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that it ranks particularly high.
I essentially liked about half of the Hellraisers.
And we liked about 60, a little bit more than, we liked, out of 8,
I would say that I legitimately enjoyed 4 out of the 8, with 7 and 2 being fun enough, and 6 and 4 just not being very good.
Yeah. I think I would rather rewatch the Leprechaun movies than rewatch all of the Hellraiser movies. I'd have to pluck. As far as Hellraiser goes for me, I'd watch 1 and 2 again in a heartbeat. Anytime that somebody wants to watch them, I'll be into it.
Oh, totally.
And Inferno.
Yeah.
The rest of them, I could go a long time without seeing again.
I do, however, think that 1 and 2 are so good that it still tips the hat as a franchise to Hellraiser over Leprechaun. Hellraiser, I think, is just...
Well...
It's a classic of gothic horror. It always will be.
Yes, but the franchise itself is made up of a bunch of non-Hellraiser movies with Hellraiser shoehorned in.
Well, some people would argue that Hellraiser 2 they like better than Hellraiser. I think they're wrong. But
you heard it here first. He wants to fight you.
But you probably a lot of people like Hellraiser 2 better than Hellraiser, and
a lot of people like Hellraiser 3, and that's
a lot of
dumb
people
movie.
like Leprechaun 3 better than Leprechaun 1. So you also have that weird situation where there's a sequel that people like better than the original. So they kind of meet in the middle, or they're evenly matched there. I think that Hellraiser probably has some worse sequels than.
Well, the worst of the 18 movies, by far, the worst thing we watched was Leprechaun 4.
Okay, I was going to ask you which one would win the battle of the space, the battle in space.
Oh, Hellraiser.
So Hellraiser wins it. So then that's the tiebreaker. Hellraiser's better.
Okay, wow. I didn't sign up for said tiebreaker, but whatever. No, I would watch. I'd watch 3 of the Hellraisers at any moment, at any time. But I would watch more of the Leprechaun movies at any point in time again. Right now, like if I had to choose today, right now, what would I rather watch? Leprechaun, say 2, or Hellraiser, say 4, right?
You'd go Hellraiser 4?
No. I'm saying I'm comparing Leprechaun 2 to Hellraiser 4. Jeff, pick a movie. What do you want to watch? I'll watch Leprechaun 2. I'll watch Leprechaun 2. I'm going to do that. I'll do that. You can watch Hellraiser in space again.
It's hard for me to say that I would watch any of these Leprechaun movies again other than Leprechaun 3, if I'm being really fair. Like
Well, no,
if
I'm
on
just-
my own, if I'm gonna watch one of these, it's gonna be Leprechaun 3.
Well, here's the thing.
I would watch probably on my own 3 of the Hellraiser movies for sure, and possibly Revelations and Judgment again.
Well, here's the thing. I remember how I felt at the end of last October.
Yeah.
It wasn't good. It didn't feel good. Yeah. I was hurting, and I said I will not watch another Hellraiser movie for a long time.
A lot of that I think has to do with the subject matter too.
No,
It
really wasn't. I watch, dude. I have no problem with the subject matter. I watched Butt Boy.
Yeah.
By the way, check out that review and check out the movie. I will recommend the movie, but not to everyone.
Also, to be fair as well, I think that the Hellraiser series is front loaded.
Yes,
The back half of the Hellraiser franchise is
real
pretty
hit
rough.
and miss.
Even your opinion of Revelations and Judgment, those are hard movies to watch because they're frustrating, because of the lack of realization, right?
Yeah.
That adds to the sort of the debilitating nature of it. They were a welcome change from having to watch the Rick Boda Hellraisers, which are 3 of just the worst fucking movies I've ever seen.
That's not true.
They're bad.
That's not true for me.
They're bad.
I've seen some bad fucking movies.
They're especially for carrying a franchise on its
okay.
name.
Oh well, for carrying a franchise, no. I mean, yeah,
They're just terrible.
no. But man,
Some of the
I
worst
don't know.
sequels I've ever seen.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
So I feel you. I feel you on the way you were feeling, because at the last half of that marathon was pretty rough.
Yeah,
And with
I feel
Leprechaun,
better.
Leprechaun
I feel
kind of
better after Leprechaun.
the last 2 were sort of fun, and
Yeah.
and honestly, 3 of the last 4 were pretty fun.
Yeah, and there were moments in part 6
Yeah,
that could have been better.
yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
So I don't know. I don't know. I think it's sort of tomatoes, maybe.
Yeah, maybe
A little
your,
bit.
Your opinion is wrong. Anyway, dude, we did it.
We did it.
We did it.
We still have to re-record the last
yeah,
episode
we
that
do.
you guys listened to.
That's
We're in
that's
a weird,
frustrating
we're in a weird
one.
time warp.
But you know what? Next week is
What?
Halloween,
Hell yeah!
and we are leaving behind the green pastures of Ireland's favorite little monster man for a nice little anthology.
yeah,
Trick or Treat.
little spooky little anthology.
Yeah, so we're gonna watch Trick or Treat for Halloween, and for reals though, the countdown to Film Seizure 100
Oh yeah,
is
we're in
on.
the 10 stretch.
we're in the 10 stretch.
Wow,
I know. Can you believe it? 100.
that's hard to believe.
I know.
It really is hard to believe.
I know.
It's a lot of hours logged with you.
Yeah, man, I wouldn't have done it with me.
Then my wife's starting to get jealous.
Oh, we're heterosexual life mates at this point. And sometimes Chuck joins in on the fun.
Yeah,
It's real interesting what happens under the table.
it's a 3-way.
Yeah, while we're recording. But anyway, yeah, no, it's exciting. We are downhill for the rest of the year. January 1st, mark it. 11-2020. Episode number 100.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun.
Hell yeah.
So where can you listen to all of these episodes? Well, Jason, where do they go?
You go to filmseizure.com.
Yeah.
Everything we have is there. It's the best place to go. If you have an internet machine, you can put in Film Seizure, and you will find it pretty easily.
Probably.
You can also find us on Facebook and Twitter, but you can also listen to us directly at SoundCloud. That's where everything gets uploaded initially that we put on the site.
Then it carries over to other places where podcasts are found and sold and downloaded. Not sold, but downloaded. Places like iTunes, or Apple Podcasts, whatever it's called. TuneIn, yeah, Spotify, Google Play.
Yep.
We're there too.
And we put them up on the YouTubes as well.
Yeah, we do. We'll post stuff there. We don't get a whole lot of action over there, but if that's what you'd rather listen to rather than
on the various tubes.
Yeah, you can go there. But yeah, it's exciting. Wednesdays.
Wednesdays are what? That's when we
That's new episodes.
I was going to say, when can they listen to your monster show?
That Monster Mondays
Yeah.
is on Saturdays. No, it's on Mondays.
That's
it's
a
on
switch.
Mondays. Yeah, no. Mondays you can listen to Monster Mondays every week. I talk about a monster movie.
Yeah.
Sometimes I get a little abstract with the monster. Like, for example, I did Blair Witch Project.
Cool.
There is certainly a monster there.
That's a monster.
Yeah. Sometimes I talk about big time movies, small time movies, classics, newer stuff. Sometimes they're not very good movies, but I'll always find 3 things that I like about it. That's every Monday afternoon. Wednesday mornings are your new episodes of Film Seizure. If there's a movie out there that we feel like we need to get our thoughts out into the world, we will do a Film Seizure at the movies.
Yes, indeed.
And we may have a couple. I know a big one will happen before the end of the year, is Star Wars. But other than that, I'm sure there's some others that will be coming along. Then Friday mornings, you can go over to my website, bmovieanima.com. Get yourself a piping hot, brand new B-movie enema.
Yeah, right out of your butt.
Right out of the
Or
butthole.
into your butt.
Right into the butthole. In and out of the butthole.
Yep.
Yeah.
Jeff Arbuckle is our resident butt boy.
Yeah.
All things butts. He's
Yeah.
our butts correspondent.
I am butts correspondent. We saw some good butts in the 4 movies we watched today.
Yeah.
Definitely some good butts in those 2 in the hood.
Yeah.
Definitely some good butts in those. Sorry,
everybody likes butts.
Everybody likes butts.
Butts are like the equalizer of the genders too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. Some girls like men buns.
Yeah, like most people.
How does your wife feel
most
about
humans,
men buns?
She likes ass.
She likes the buns.
Yeah.
Nice.
She likes
Very
slapping them.
Nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll have to ask her about that.
Yeah.
I hear you.
He
like
definitely
the
should.
butts.
She likes butts.
Cool. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in the meantime, until episode 91, trick or treat.
Yes.
I am Jeff Arbuckle.
I am Jason Oliver, and you have been listening to Film Seizure.
I want to go. I want to go. I want to go. Give me the gold.